Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Music Industry Talks, second edition. As you tune in, let us know where you're from in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share this video so that more people can see it. If it's your first time that you're joining our webinars or hearing about Sincop8ed Noize Foundation, I will give you a bit of background about who we are and what we do. We are a nonprofit organization that promotes Canadian artists and musicians through events and educational activities. The focus of the Music Industry Talks second edition is to spotlight artists and music industry professionals of underserved communities to share their stories and to help the industry stay connected during the global pandemic. I would like to take a moment to thank Factor Canada for making this event possible and free for everybody to attend. And I will now leave you in the hands of our host, Candice Crystal Rock. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alessia and Sincop8ed Noize Foundation for having me as a guest host. I would like to begin by acknowledging that I am currently situated on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people, also known as Ottawa. I'd also like to introduce myself. I'm Candice, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm also a lawyer and activist and advisor in the fields of human rights, diversity, and inclusion, specifically with regards to persons with disabilities. I am also a board member of DeBaser, which is an organization aimed at prioritizing artists from equity-seeking communities. Today, I'm here with our special guest, Logan Staats. Logan is a Mohawk Turtle Clan singer-songwriter and musician from Six Nations of the Grand River. He achieved mainstream success throughout 2018 and 19 off of his win on the first season of CTV's The Launch. He is best known for his single, The Lucky Ones, which is a great song, by the way, which hit #1 on the Canadian iTunes chart right after its release. He's also known for his part in the 2017 Canadian-made documentary, When They Awake, which celebrates Indigenous artists and their communities. Accompanied by the blood harmonies of his sister, Layla Black, Logan helps to inspire strength and emotion with his lyrical storytelling and haunting melodies. Welcome, Logan. Nice to have the opportunity to chat with you today.
Sego, ladies and gentlemen, it's nice to be here. I'm really, really glad to be here. Thank you so much for asking me. It means a lot.
Thank you so much. So I thought, and we chatted before, obviously, and I thought it would be great. There are viewers who don't necessarily know who you are, right? Don't know your music, don't know your genre, don't know what inspired you to become a musician. So I thought maybe we could start by perhaps discussing, how it all began for you. What inspired you to become a musician, and also, how did that inspiration lead to you making it a career, right? Becoming a professional artist as well.
Well, I think, before I get into just like my musical influences and all that, I think the main part of my influence was my father. I remember just being young and, lots of kids were buying Blink-182 records and Sum 41 records and all these different records. And my dad sat me down and he was like, no. This is what you need to be listening to. This is the band. This is Leonard Cohen. This is Bob Dylan and Robbie Robertson, So like, I think the biggest testament to just my influences is my old man, my father, and just the music that he had playing in the house. Outside of that, like I said, the artists that I look up to, are usually like really like Buffy St. Marie. Happy belated birthday, by the way, Buff. Leonard Cohen. I really love people that just tell stories and have that ability to kind of just pull you in with the lyrics, so Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Buffy St. Marie, Robbie Robertson, because he was, the guitar player from my nation. So I always looked up to him. But I started writing music quite simply because of just like love, loss, and desperation. I got my heart broken when I was a young man, and I picked up the guitar and I was like, oh my God, this is making me feel better. So above anything, it's just been this thing that is just medicine for me, And once I started sharing my medicine with people, I realized that, you know, it was providing the same sort of feelings and relief, you know, for listeners and peers and my friends. So that's how my music career started. You know, it's just kind of sharing my stories of love, loss, and desperation.
Thank you for sharing that. Music is good for the soul in general.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And definitely a lot of folk type of inspiration as well, right?
Mhm.
So how would you characterize your musical genre? I think we have the answer here, but
Yeah.
I'd still like for you to share how you would characterize kind of your style, and we can go from there.
You know, I think it changes for me song to song. Honestly, like, you know, I think it really changes for me song to song. But you know, I would have to say blues, folk, and soul. You know, I think most of my songs and my stories are carried along more by my voice than my guitar, even sometimes. So I would have to say, yeah, that it's like, you know, just like rootsy blues, folk, soul. You know, I've been called all those things.
So I also would like to know as well, you know, what themes do you cover in your music? Obviously, there's a lot of storytelling. You're known as a storyteller.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think that's great. In the music industry, we don't have that many storytellers. And, you know, maybe you can share a bit about that as well.
I think, you know, one of the biggest parts of my music is, and many people don't know this about me, but I'm a fourth generation residential school survivor. So my great great aunt attended the Mohawk Institute in Brantford. You know, so growing up, you know, as a young man, I wasn't really in touch with my culture or my heritage. Like it was literally ripped from my ancestors' hands, you know. So like a lot of my music, a lot of the process has just about being like slowly at my own pace, reclaiming all of these teachings, you know, and discovering who I am as an Haudenosaunee man, you know. And I think that's like the biggest theme in my music is just like me finding myself, you know, because when your grandparents go through something like that and you carry this intergenerational trauma, you know, it's like you have no idea who you are, you know. So I think the biggest theme of my music is just being me slowly, you know, figuring out who I am and finding peace and solace in that.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I felt that in my heart, frankly, when you were talking about that. Uh, it's definitely a healing journey from what
Yeah.
you're discussing, and I think that's great. And I think this is the perfect segue to allow you to tell your story, perhaps to play a song. You know, you
Of
have your
course.
guitar here, um, and if you're cool with that, maybe playing a song, even
Yeah.
two if they're shorter, and let people know, you know, what these songs are about. Maybe you could introduce the
Cool.
theme and what you're talking about in this song.
Great. Um, so this song that I'm gonna play for you is called "I Wish I Knew Your Name." It's, you know, a story about me being a young man and hanging out on the reservation. And I used to hang out in this coffee shop. I used to sneak out of home and steal my mom's cigarettes and go to this coffee shop. And this was back in the day when you were allowed to smoke inside of certain buildings, right? And I used to just like hang out there and you know, kind of just talk to the elders. And I befriended one of these elders, and eventually came a time where I needed a ride into town, and she was like, "Yo, like jump in my car, I'll drive you to town." And then while I'm in her car, I'm sitting in the back seat, and she looks behind her and she starts speaking to someone. And I'm looking beside me, and there's absolutely no one else in the car, you know. And I noticed this beautiful wooden box beside me. And she explained to me that she was speaking to her late husband, and his ashes were sitting there in the back seat beside me, you know. And as a young man, you know, I was just like, holy, I almost wanted to jump out of the car and run home to my mom, you know. But then as I kind of grew up a little bit, it became this example of, you know, what true love is, you know, and what it means and what it can mean, you know. And to me, it's just this kind of light that never goes out, no matter what, you know. And um, yeah, like I said, it was a scary thing to me, but then it also became one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened to me. So I wrote a song about it. It goes like this. No, run that coffee shop. Back when you could smoke inside. She hid behind a burning cigarette. The chip porcelain matched her smile. Husband's ass cheese in the backseat. Calling that box by his first name. She refused to say goodbye. Not even at the flame. And I want love like that. Through the thick and through the thin. And I want love that lasts. Through the thick and through the thin. Now I wish I knew your name. So that I could find your grave. And I'd sing your ghostly soul. And I'd tell you you were wrong. With your husband's yes chill in your backseat. Calling that box by his first name. You refuse to say goodbye. Not even after flame. And I want love like that. Through the thick and through the thin. And I want love that lasts. Through the thick and through the thin. Across the ocean, through the storm. Across the desert in the sun. Now all my lovers left me. Every single one. Every single one. I wanna love my baby. Through the thick and through the thin. Yeah, we'll go up.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Wow. Really great. I think this is the perfect opportunity to maybe discuss what's happening now, your current career as a musician. And obviously a lot of people know you from the launch. And maybe you could share, you know, how that experience was for you and how it helped kind of, you know, not necessarily start up your career. You already had a career prior, but how it kind of helped advance that career. And maybe we can start by that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I always tell people, that being on TV and being on the launch was one of the most challenging things that I've ever done, or faced, just as a musician and as a person, and it wasn't even like the show itself was super challenging, like just because like I'm a very kind of feely, organic musician, and I don't really like to be told what to do when it comes to my music or what to sing about, so fitting into their mold, was very difficult for me, but it also pushed me and helped me grow, which I'm very grateful for, don't get me wrong. But for me, the most challenging parts were the sorts of things that came after the show, and the responsibilities that came along with that. I was all like overnight, I became, just like a voice for my people, and I was put in a place of like, people wanting me to be a role model. And at the time of the show, like I just wasn't there yet. I was struggling a lot with my own personal demons, with a lot of, mental health issues and things like that. So coming out of the show, I remember being like, what? And I was by no means was I famous by any, but when you come from a small community or a small town, like, you walk into the grocery store and all of a sudden everybody's eyes are on you, it was a bit of a struggle for me at first, and it was a bit challenging at first, but it did really kind of force me to really take the first steps in my healing journey, which I'm still on today. But it really did kind of force me and inspire me to just, start growing, and one of the things that I took away from the show is I was very successful as an Indigenous artist. Before I did the launch, I won all the Indigenous music awards you can, and I was doing very good, just in regards to me and the Indigenous music scene. So the one thing that the launch did help me with a lot was just kind of spreading my wings into mainstream media, and my songs being on normal radio stations instead of just the Indigenous radio stations. And it really gave me a chance to kind of, just kind of break out of that mold or that scene that I was in. But yeah, like I said, it was super challenging and, super scary at times. And I'm super grateful for it. But, it really, when you go through something like that and then you have every single person that their eyes on you all the time, it really does force you to either sink or swim, and I am really happy that it just helped me to kind of, take those first couple steps on just, figuring out what was going on upstairs and figuring out, what was going on in my heart and my spirit.
Thank you for sharing that. We also talked about what's happening right now around the world, especially in North America and especially right now in BC, concerning Indigenous activism. And obviously there's been, even beyond that, the treatment of individuals within the BIPOC community. And as an Indigenous artist, have you ever faced barriers within the music industry? And if so, how have you kind of forged through? How have you thrived through that? And perhaps like as well, I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but I'd also like to know if there's any messages that you'd like to share to perhaps Indigenous youth that have fear to get involved in the industry because they hear stories or they see things and, feel that they'd be facing barriers. Perhaps some words of wisdom on your end as well to share with the audience.
Yeah, I think, being honest, there's a lot of different forms of racism that you encounter as, being an Indigenous musician or, a musician of color. But I think my biggest piece of advice, and the only thing that I feel comfortable saying to people with my full heart is like, just don't give up, and because it's a struggle and And that's the one thing that, at least at this point in my career, I'm comfortable saying is just don't give up. You know, no matter how dark it gets, there's always a light. You know, and um, yeah, you know, like um, another thing is with if you are an Indigenous musician, you know, I think that there's a lot of mentors out there. Like I know I wouldn't be where I am today without Buffy, you know, without Derek Miller, without Bill Gilday, and like just like these people that have freaking taken me under their wing for no reason, you know. And I think that's one thing that I really love about the Indigenous music industry is instead of it being competition all the time, I've felt personally that my mentors have just gone out of their way to just help me and help guide me, you know. So my biggest piece of advice is just don't give up, and also don't be scared to reach out to people like myself, you know, because we're here and work together to all build each other up.
Thank you. I know that's not an easy conversation, you know, that we had just now, but thank you for sharing that. And I think I love hearing that there's, you know, you have this term in French called l'entraide. It means everyone's helping each other. And I think that's important in the industry as a whole. There's a lot of competition. We all know that there's a lot of animosity, and by helping one another, especially marginalized musicians, you know, not just BIPOC, but, you know, persons with disabilities, LGBTQ plus, right? All you know, support. That's what people need to thrive, right? So thank you so much for sharing that. And actually, you know, offering to help out people too, if they want that support. Wow.
I always say to people, and I try to communicate with every single person that messages me on my Instagram. You know, I try to hit them all back, and you know, I try to just support any musician, you know, that I can, and help them in any way that I can.
So I'd also like to know, going back to your music as a whole, I'd also like to know if you have any upcoming projects in the works. I know COVID has hit everyone hard, but especially the entertainment industry. But are there plans, you know, virtual events, or, you know, I know you had recordings out in 2020, but are there plans for future albums, etc.?
Yeah, you know, like this last year has been so crazy. You know, we had my agents had a whole tour booked, which got canceled, you know, and then they rebooked it for like just smaller rooms with like 50 people. And I was like, oh, okay. But then it got canceled, you know. So as far as performing and stuff, it's still all up in the air, and everyone's trying to figure that out, you know. But one thing that has been good is it's been giving me a lot of time to write and to just get inspired. And I just signed a new record deal. So we're going to be putting out a new record this year, like a full new record of songs that I've collected and written over COVID, you know, over this whole kind of isolation madness that we've all, you know, had to deal with, you know. So the song is called A Light in the Attic. And it's basically just a roundabout way of kind of talking a little bit about my struggles with addiction, you know, and then finding a light in all that, and finding a reason in all that, and finding a purpose in all of that, you know, and it's just about the ongoing battle that it is every single day, you know. So really, really excited for this new record to come out, you know, because if there's anything that I know 100% in my heart that is good, that I do and that I contribute to this world, it is my music and my stories, you know. So I was able to kind of take some really, really dark times for myself and turn them into something that I think is going to be medicine, not only for me, but for my fans and my listeners and everyone.
Absolutely. I think you said it so well. To tell you the truth, I didn't know a lot of your music before I was asked to interview you. And I'm more of a heavy metal fan. That's who I am. But when I listened to the music, it really struck a chord. And when you say music is medicine, it definitely I could relate, even as a heavy metal, heavy rock kind of follower, I could really relate to a lot of the songs, especially around, you know, internal strength and love and, you know, adversity and so forth. So, you know, thanks for sharing that. So for people who don't know that much about you as a musician, where can they follow you? You know, where can they listen to your music and stuff like that?
You know, I'm on all of like your normal online social media platforms, you know, like Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and all that stuff. You can find me on there. A lot of my stuff's on YouTube and Facebook as well. But I think, at least personally, the platform that I control the most and that I, you know, have directly on my phone is Instagram, you know, and that's where I do a lot of just like, you know, dialogue with my fans and a lot of just like posting my new music, you know. But like I said, we just did sign a new record deal, which is super exciting. And you're gonna start seeing like just all the promotional material everywhere for this new record.
I'm really excited to hear that new music. So we're nearing the end, but I'm wondering if you could perhaps play another song. Is that okay? Are you cool with that? Because I think it would be great to end our conversation with that. And thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I think that every folk singer has that one song that just is like super, super personal to them. And like maybe is even a little bit hard to get through sometimes. But I'm gonna do my best to get through this song for you guys. And it's called She Just Wants a Folk Song. I know you're listening from the driver's seat of that old Ford. And I know you miss me. Your pride must be so. She's wearing an outfit from her mother's store. She's living a life, yes she is. Her heart can't afford. And I know that I'm right, but I hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my songs. And I know that I'm right, hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my songs, my songs. My song, my song, my lonely song. And I got my fists up, but I don't wanna fight. And I can't find my days, love. I've been searching all night. And she just wants a folk song, not anything more. And she just wants a folk song, one she can adore. And I know that I'm right, but I hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my songs. And I know that I'm right, hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my song, my song. My song. My song. My lonely song. And I know that I'm right, but I hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my soul. And I know that I'm right, hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my songs. And I know Yes, I know, and I know, and I know. And I know. And I know that I'm right. Hope that I'm wrong. She'll never love me, but she'll always love my song. Yeah, we'll go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have a comment from one of the viewers, Leah Harry, just wanted to let you know that she can't wait for the new album. She's excited to, and we also have a question from Rita concerning mental and physical health during COVID. She'd like to know how have you stayed mentally and physically healthy during the pandemic?
Well, quite honestly, I haven't always. I haven't always, and the biggest part of this right now is I think that's what we're all trying to figure out. But I just try to stay behind my guitar. I try to stay in the company of people that love me and care for me, and really have my best interest at heart. And it's again, I'll just go back to just not giving up. And there's been many of times during this pandemic where my head has just been bananas, but the only thing that I can say is I get up every day and I make that conscious decision to just keep fucking trying, and keep, and keep up hope and just relentlessly not giving up,
I think that's a wonderful message, never give up and just keep on keeping, as people say, keep on keeping on, exactly. Oh, I wish we could continue chatting, but it's towards the end of our conversation. And I thank you so much for sharing, so many aspects of yourself as a musician, as a man, as an Indigenous person, as well as an Indigenous artist. I really appreciated that. So thank you so much, Logan, for that. I really appreciate it. And it means a lot to me. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, we'll go Ganalankwa and Onagoahi, guys. Thank you so much for being with us and being here.
So we are at the end of our discussion. I'd like to thank everyone for watching our third episode of Music Industry Talks with Logan Staats. If you enjoyed our event, hit like, comment, and share this video. And thanks to our speaker for sharing his story with us today. Thanks to Factor Canada. And to all of you from home for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Foundation's mailing list for updates on upcoming events. And once again, thanks for watching.